All right. Questions at all? All right, let me get my shares going. All right. So this is our poster project. This sheet will be up online. Let me just see. Yeah, December 2nd. I'm gonna verify all that. Oops, hold on one sec. Just want to verify the date for us. The 2nd, yeah, so that's a Thursday. So we got a couple weeks left to get that done. So we're looking at a 11 by 17 poster, Illustrator predominantly, title of some sort, imagery, designed in Illustrator, and then down at the bottom somewhere, call to action, visit, come see us, have a great stay, something that they can gain additional information. Okay. That's important to have that kind of info so they can figure out what they want and do. I'm gonna get this little goofy window open. I can't get rid of it. What is that? No, that wasn't it. No, all right, doesn't matter. We're gonna keep going. All right, so that will be, I'm gonna put that up on the website. Let me just actually can do that really quick now. So what are we, let me get the right class. I'll put it up so you guys can have it. I tried to put it onto the chat yesterday with the other class and didn't quite work. So let me just zoom down. I'll put it on here and you guys will be good to go with that. So any questions on that for the poster assignment? That makes sense to everybody?
Makes sense.
Okay. So I'm actually using Muse. If I get this thing to work right now. It's one of the programs that comes with your Adobe account. Stop. I didn't want to go that far. Computer starts thinking on its own. It's designed for web design and really kind of geared towards us designers, us non-coders. So you really don't need to do any coding with this program. And the downside is Adobe's not going to support it in the future, meaning they're not updating it. So it still works, but as browsers change and stuff, this may not work in the future. But you can download it, and if you guys want me to spend some time half the class session on that because you think it would be beneficial to you, let me know, and I can so really it's kind of like anything else. You just kind of select things, highlight them. You can see the interface is really pretty much like we've already had. I'm going to do that. And then to kind of link stuff, you can just kind of add a link. So this drop down menus, link to a file. And that's going to be the Tuesday, Thursday. Looks like I did not save it. Let me just save it real quick as a PDF. So this was an InDesign project, and I'm going to just put it to normal. You can see all that thing here. So I'm going to save it already. It's already saved, but I want to export it. So I can export as a PDF. I can select the presets that are here, or I could go through here, and this export is going to give me a few other options: PDFs, EPUBs, HTML, JPEG. We don't need any of these. We're going to do a InDesign or Acrobat PDF. So I'm going to do that. Hit save. I get the normal dialog box here, and I'm going to just do smallest file size, save it easier for you guys, and hit export. And it's going to drop it over. And I'm going to go back to my Muse, and then I'm going to select that file now. And then I will upload it to the internet. It's still working. There it is. Okay, so when you click on that, you're going to be able to download it, save the site. So it's pretty easy to kind of work, build things up. This obviously the site that we're using, this upload FTP, is through that. You can build portfolio sites, all that kind of stuff. So it's pretty easy, intuitive to do. Like I said, the bad side or downside is they're getting rid of it, meaning they're not updating it as we go. So this is from 2018. So it's 2-3 years old now. I'm going to be sad when it doesn't work anymore. It makes my life a little bit easier. All right, so that'll be up online now that you can download what we just saw on the screen here. And we'll go from there. All right. And I'll get the final project is going to be InDesign project. I'll get that written up and also given to you, and that'll be due the week after, which is our final week of class for the semester. And I am working on the grades. Don't worry, guys. Everybody's doing good. Just got to input everything into the computers. All right. Questions, guys? What are we going along here?
How did it go grading the logos? Did they come out as good or?
Yeah, I think everybody's good.
Bad?
No, everybody looked good. What I'm going to try to do is get it done so we can look at them next week. That will be Tuesday for you guys. So I'm working on it. Just, you know how it is. Life comes and you're like, oh, I got to do something else, higher priority. And you know how it just gets nuts. But we are getting there finally. But like I said, no, if you were having problems, I would have told you by now. So there's really nobody having any issues. So everybody's doing it and working well. And we'll get all that cleaned up so you guys have time to refresh. But dude, everybody's looking A's and B's. That's what I'm trying to tell you, right? There's like nobody that's sucking at this thing right now. All right, so
that's encouraging.
Yeah. No, don't worry. If somebody I would tell you that, like, hey, dude, you like, all right. And if there's anybody in the group here that's still finessing or working on something, by all means, do it, get it to me, but don't like sweat. Don't go. I'm not going crazy. You shouldn't go crazy at this point. Like I said, my goal is to get you guys comfortable with these programs so you can utilize them in classes to come. That's really my main goal. It's not to, I don't know, make you go suffer as a student because you didn't turn in a grade. You guys are learning that elsewhere. What the heck? More important things like learning, and to me, this is the learning. Grades aren't learning. Grades are just somebody's way of evaluating. Who the heck knows? Really, do we need grades? Let's get philosophical. Do we really need grades? I'm at the longer I've been in this and education, and the decades now, I'm almost at a point where it's like you pass, you fail, right? And as long as you're getting it, you're getting it, and you will get better the longer you do this. So those that are going to continue on in this, and I can tell you, in 10 years, you're going to do it better than today. Just like anything else. And does it really matter if you got an A or a B or C? I know you guys care about it, but in the big terms of life, no. You don't want to know what my grades were back in college. some classes I had to take over because I failed them. Oh my God. Yeah. And it never
God
stopped me.
forbid,
What's that?
God forbid that ever has to happen, huh?
God forbid. Yeah. I mean, whatever, right? It's and then when I go, and I will tell you, when you go for a job, no one's like, hey, can I see your transcript so I can give you a job? Nobody cares, right? They're just like, hey, I got a degree in whatever. I've been trained in this, etc. So, um, I don't know. I was never disappointed that I wasn't summa cum laude or whatever that stuff is. If people that are great, heck, my brother was that way. He was like straight A's and everything. I don't know. I'm just more of the creative. Let's do things and have fun. And, especially when it comes to art and design, a lot of this stuff is subjective. And I mean, I'm just like kind of evaluating that you're using the program properly. But, who's to say, right?
C's get degrees too.
Yeah, well, exactly, right. But I even look at stuff like now it's going on. Who's been following this, NFT stuff? This idea of people selling digital stuff online with a lot of photographs, but a lot of it's just kind of goofy drawings. Who's seen this stuff?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's
Right.
it's like a new Bitcoin almost.
Yeah,
People
well,
are
they're
using it as a
selling it
currency.
using Bitcoin, but
It seems really, really dumb. Like I just don't even understand the concept behind it.
yeah, right. This is stuff like they're selling this stuff. It's NFT non. So they're using Bitcoins and other items or ways of selling. There's a whole bunch of it, cryptocurrencies as they call it. We're just going to do
People
it.
are saying it's like the new form of art to like invest in or something, but it
Yeah.
just seems like little pixelated drawings that anyone can do.
Right.
I just don't get it.
Hey, look, there's the most. We'll see if this is. I just want to see. Right. It's most expensive crypto artwork. I don't know. I'm not going to worry about. But it's like, really, someone paid. I don't. Why would you pay even more than $1 for this? Does that make sense? This little cat, whatever, right? I mean, come on, you got to be stupid.
Aside from what the subject matter is, like I just don't even understand the point of buying it when it's digital, so anybody can take a picture of it and use it anywhere. So isn't it supposed to be like the more copies of something out there, the less value it has? So technically everybody can view it. I just I don't know. I don't get it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree, right? And if technically you own it, you can, I guess, do what you want. You could sell it again. I don't right now you can sell it again, but I mean, like I could print this out and sell prints or sell duplicates. I have no idea, but I don't know. There's a lot of stuff, and you have to wonder how much is real and how much is just kind of this hocus pocus fake stuff that people are.
Well, yeah, a lot of people are kind of theorizing out there that it's like it's all a big scheme to sort of cover up money laundering or something. But I mean, who knows?
Well, I'm sure it is, right? I mean,
Yeah.
at least if I buy a Van Gogh, I can hang it on my wall.
And you're the only one that owns it.
And I am technically the only one that owns it because we know that when it comes to digital, right? I mean, it's like you're right. Anybody can kind of screenshot and have it if that's what they want. I don't know. I mean, I know a lot of photographers are doing it. I'm trying to figure it out. I'm not saying that there isn't something there, but when I look at something like this cat in the top part or whatever the heck it is, to me, that's just stupid. That makes sense. It's not like a fine art.
I mean, there are some pretty good like photoshopped kind of images out there
Yeah.
that they're selling as NFTs, but then I still just don't understand the logistics behind it. So I don't get like that cool one with the woman with the images on her face and all
Yeah.
that. Like those are cool, but how do you own that and stop other people from using it?
Well, you know what? It seems to me like copywriting is a completely different game unless it's something well known like a Disney logo or Mickey Mouse. I mean, like I've got this idea for a flag, but it the design is kind of like a social statement, and maybe could be a banner for a positive social movement. But I'm scared to death to put it out there because I mean, I want the credit for it. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't want somebody to steal it. And I don't know. I can't think of any way to protect it, because if you change something like 10% of a known logo, that's okay.
No, not really. Give me 1 second here. No, it's not. Hold on. I'll give me 1 second here. Right back.
I mean, from what I know, copyright law in America is really weird. So there's a lot of different things that go into it. Like, I don't know. I've heard that Disney themselves have messed up the copyright law in America. You know, all sorts of lobbyists and stuff. But you know, changing the laws.
Well, yeah, and you know, the thing is, everything's a big mess right now. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, copyright is basically anything you create, you own the copyright to. And just changing it, quote, a small percent doesn't mean that it's not still your copyright. Because basically, if again, it gets into court, but you know, if a reasonable person could say that came from that, then there is conflict there. So, and then trademark is a little bit different. Trademark are basically logos and such that are registered through the Patent and Trademark Office. Okay, so that's a little bit different. So, like an example, this is a Christmas ornament or wooden ornament just created with my logo on it. So the logo is trademarked, but the whole thing here is copyrighted because it's my design and my idea put together and made out of wood. I own the copyright to this. Does that make sense? So it does get a little confusing as to what's what. Does it mean that you can't make a round wooden ornament? No, you can do that. I don't own that type of idea. But this one in particular, and the way it's put together, is my copyright. Okay. So yeah, when we start to get into stuff like this, these, you know, NFTs and all this craziness that's going on, it gets a little weird, and especially because it's digital. And you're right. And you guys, you know, yeah, I'm afraid to put something up because it might get stolen. It is possible, right? I mean, and then the only way to kind of fight against it is take it to court. I mean, honestly, who's got the money for court?
Well, you know, I've heard from countless sources, some of which are actual copyright attorneys, that there's a thing called poor man's copyright.
That way you put it in an envelope and send it to
You
yourself.
put it in an envelope and you have
Yeah.
the official post office cancel on it,
Yeah.
but
You don't
then it
have
can
to.
be opened in court. And I just wonder what percentage of the time that actually is helpful to the person trying to defend it.
From what I've read, it really doesn't matter. It doesn't mean anything. Now you can go and apply for a copyright through the Library of Congress. Okay, so this is in the US, the official place that you apply for.
But you're going to pay for it though, I think.
Oh, you got to pay for it. Yeah, but it's not that much, right? Let me just show you how much it is. So, you know, and basically what we're copywriting is web, programs, written material, books, articles, sound, photography, visual art, graphics. So this is not like if you copyright I don't know, a machine that makes plastic bottles type of thing. That's a patent. So that's the difference between a copyright and a patent. Patents are typically machines and mechanisms that create things. Okay, with the exception of something like a program. Okay, which is a copyrighted thing. It's just kind of strange like this. But let me just go through FAQ. It's not that copyright for 70 years. So if you create art, it's there. And let me just see where I can tell you. And we're just gonna do a performance, audio, visual art. I just want to see if it gives me the the number, because it's a price. Let me just got to be an epic. It's not, it's like, I want to say it's like 20, 30 bucks. Maybe it's not the right price. Let me just go back just to let you guys know. So if you have something you're like, well, I want to do this. You can send it in, and it's not too much. So your logo is different. That's because that's a trademark. Well, trademarks cost $300 to $600, and then you got to pay the legal fees to get a lawyer to make sure it's written right. Because if they reject it, you've lost all your money. It looks like here it's $45. $45, okay, to do a copyright, and it's one particular thing. Okay, but that's just through the legal copyrights and the paperwork in and copies to the Library of Congress to copyright. But know that everything is copyrighted as soon as you create it. So like, here's a sticker I created. I own the copyright to this. No one else can use it without my permission. But I didn't pay the $45 to the Library of Congress, because if I did that for everything, I would go broke. Okay, I create so much stuff that it would go broke. So, but my logo is trademark, which is a higher level of legal protection. But the trademark, the logo is designed as a mark of a product or a company. I just happen to be selling my trademark every time when I sell it as a sticker. Does that make sense? So kind of like, Nike owns the swoosh. Okay, they've trademarked that, but they're not necessarily selling the swoosh, but they are when they put it on a t-shirt. Does that make sense? So it's a little bit gray and it gets a little funky, but do know that everything you guys create is technically copyrighted. But if you do have something special, you're like, dude, this is mine. I really want to make sure I keep it. It might be worth your while to go ahead and spend the $45 for a copyright through the Library of Congress. It's just going to give you a lot more legal protection down the line, whereas that the poor man's copyright doesn't really, they say, hold up. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I've never been to copyright court type of thing, but it's probably worth the $45 just to keep yourself safe with that. And again, as always, consult that lawyer when you need to. So copyright covers stuff we create, design, draw. Again, a couple squiggles on a piece of paper is technically you own that copyright once you've created it. Whereas a logo or something like that, a trademark, an image, you got to send that to the patent and trademark, and you have to fill out all these forms in order to do that. And then you have to renew it, and you have to legally put, now that my logo is registered, I have to put the R on there, and I have to really, they say you even have to defend it, meaning I have to, every couple of months, I go through and just do a web search to see if anybody's using my work, my logo without permission, which does pop up on some t-shirts. And then I have to send like cease and desist saying I own the trademark to that and they can't use it. So in order to maintain your trademark rather. So, and we went down a rabbit hole on that. It's the NFTs. They did it to us. These things.
It's all a part of the plan.
Dude, this is wacky to me. I get the kind of cryptocurrency. I understand what it is. I don't have any money involved in it. But when you got into this artwork, it's can't be, is it somebody paid this is they consider the most? I know people paid more. 505,000 equivalent. I mean, something like that stuff is like, this is pretty, right? This is really nice artwork.
That Tom Hanks?
Yeah, somebody drew this, or I'm assuming they did it digitally. I don't know. And if they did it by hand and then put it in a computer, but these all look, that all looks digital. I mean, I don't know what that is. with a golden bear here or something stupid, right? But you know, Jack, whatever, you know, there's like some of the stuff is just stupid. And it's like, why would you, don't get me going. It's like, why people, I just wonder how much is legit. You know what I'm trying to say? How much is real? How much is just kind of somebody.
Maybe this is just the modern auction house.
Yeah, well, and the thing is that even modern, I don't know, cryptocurrency, that whole thing has just gotten weird too. I mean, and legitimate places are, I mean, you can use it to buy stuff that, I don't know if it's McDonald's yet, but I know some auction houses are doing it, and there are places that are starting to accept that as a means. But I gotta say, don't cry when it all goes away because somebody crashed some computer someplace. It's a little bit different than putting money in the bank, you know, getting a direct deposit or cash that you can physically go get today. I don't know, dude. I don't know. we're gonna live in some weird times for the years to come. All right, so let's real quick while we're here talk about weird times. As you start to keep working on your creative cloud, you're going to be updating, right? I've got an update here for Photoshop. I have an update for InDesign, which I haven't done. I've got, I think 17 is out now, and now I have 16. And look at something like that. So as you start to keep getting updates, feel free to update as you need to. You know, they usually are a good thing. Someone asked the other day, should I hold on the updates? I would say you don't have to really worry about it unless you're hearing things out there. People having problems, but most of the stuff is pretty stable when they finally put it out as a certified update. So feel free to hit those and open those and update as you do. And then when you do, you're gonna want to look up something, you know, like I like to follow Terry White, which I've told you. And I started listening to this one. He's telling us about the new updates in Photoshop. Again, they're not terribly humongous updates, but they are updates and things that are making it better in the world of Photoshop. And you know, and I'll just show you an example of one of the things that he did. He talked about. Let me just open up the picture. I'm just looking for one that'll work well. We'll try this and see. So there is a, you know, in the past we've had to, if we want to select something, we would have to kind of draw it. And we've done the masking. We went through that with Photoshop and how to paint out or paint in a mask and stuff like that. Well, now there's this object selection tool, and it was in the last version, I believe, of Photoshop, but it really wasn't that strong. So what it's doing, and it's actually working up here with this little spinning wheel. It's finding objects in this particular photo that will select for me. And as I scroll over, you can see it changes color to select those objects. Now, again, it's not perfect, but you can see stuff like if I wanted to get rid of this little police car back here, I'm going to click on it. I'm going to zoom in and click. And it selected it, right? It didn't do it perfectly, but it's not too bad. And we'll do this one probably better. Okay, so it did that. And I can select it, I can mask it, I can delete it. I can do whatever I want with it, right? Because it's a whole new item right now. So I can make a new layer and make a mask at this point of that. And it made a mask of that object that's back there. Now I can kind of take it away or add things to it. So they've made selecting objects a lot quicker with this object find now. So it used to be the quick selection or the magic wand, but now with this object select, it's really quick. So if I do this, this should give me, it's going to give me the sky. Let me see, I'm trying to zoom out. Okay, so it's finding the sources pretty quickly. and then I can hold down the shift key and I can add into it. It's gonna ultimately, I'm trying to select the whole area, but it's being a lot smarter about it. It used to be very, very time consuming to kind of select items. So, you know, those are kind of things that are coming through the update. And these are kind of things that like Terry's talking about in his YouTube talk. So when they come out with these new updates, you're like, what's new? I'm not really sure. Check out someone like Terry, who works for Adobe, who's, you know, an expert at this stuff, and will take you through what's happening. So keep that in mind, because, you know, they're going to have new updates all the time. Typically once a year is a big update, but they do keep adding things in and finessing things. So you're going to want to find some people on YouTube that talk you through these items so you can get these figured out and work with them that way. Okay, so keep yourself updated. All right, so let's go back here and let me make a new file. All right, so I'm going to do a new project. And again, remember, we get this here, and right now we've got one page. And to add to the pages, I'm just going to simply, I can add this way, or I could have added in the beginning if I knew how many pages I wanted. And we're back to 8. Again, we did facing pages. So in this case, I have a cover and I have a back cover. So when they printed that, this would print next to this. Okay. And then we have the inside pages here. And they're all on master A. And we're going to get into master pages next class. I don't want to really do it today. I just want to kind of go back through some of the basics and show you how we can modify and have shapes and so forth go around work and so forth. So let me find some text really quick. And again, as we're going, if something's like, what was that? Let me know and just say, hey, slow down, and we'll find it, and we'll get you up to speed. We did the LA Times the other day. See what's new in the news. Let me just go to the, go back. I don't want that. I don't want your ads. I don't want, I just want to read your thing. Let me find an article. Oh, stop it. Don't make me go to Yahoo News or something. For subscribe. I don't want to subscribe. I just want an article. Oh. Just trying to find articles. Articles. Why does everybody want my money all the time? Ah, look, it's the Russians' fault. Gas prices so low, the Russians. Blame it on the Russians now, the gas prices. I don't know what this means. NORAD steam. It's Europe. So I'm getting a title. All right, I wanted a title for my article. Come over here. I'm just going to drop it in. Again, think about it. In real life, you're going to get this given to you on a disk or an email. So you don't have to worry about it. And I'm just going to copy this text out of here now. And again, I'm just going to do another text box here with the article. And I can set up a second column to do that. I'm going to do a second column here. All right, and we've got the red box. So whenever you have the red box with the red cross in it, that means you've got overflow. You've got more text than you need. Okay, so I simply click on that box. And as I do, I get that little loaded text there, right? And then I could just drop it and it pulls it to the next column. Okay, so now these two are linked and I'll be able to take stuff from one to the other. Okay, if I want to undo it, you can see here I clicked on this little we'll say triangle in the square, and I can unlink it. So I click that and it's now unlinked. So if you make a mistake and like I didn't want to link it over to here, you can come back and unlink it. So just clicking again, boom. And then as I click off, you can see I get that. And if that's, click on that again, I get an unlink. Okay, so I will take that off if you make a mistake. All right, and I'm on page 8, but that's okay, it doesn't matter. Okay, of course, at this point, we want to kind of set up our type. Okay, so I'm gonna get my properties, and I got my characters here, my character styles. We'll get into character styles, paragraph styles, and master pages come next class. I just want to kind of do this. I've got the type. We talked about 10, 11, 12, 13 point typically is your font size for printed articles. Okay, on websites, it gets a little bigger. But if you were to print out, go buy a newspaper, etc., you're going to find that that type is in the 10 to 12 point range, most likely. Okay, up here we have a headline, and I'm going to make that a different typeface. Need a bigger computer. Dude. This is the last 10 typefaces you're doing. I don't know why I use bartender. What was I thinking when I used bartender? I wonder. Let me just find here. Albertina. This looks good. It's Albertina regular. Let's see what they got. We got a bold, and I want to make that bigger. So I'm just going to hit the up arrow, and we're doing that. Now, on headlines, on stuff like that, as we start to get into magazines, and we're going to be doing that as our last project, some magazine layouts. You don't necessarily, you try to avoid a hyphenation in a title, okay, or a headline. It's just awkward. So either shift that line down, and you can do a shift return, which pushes it down. And by holding the shift, it kind of keeps things in order. They call it a hard return. Or just kind of change your font size bigger or smaller or something like that to make that happen. Okay, or track it out a little bit more, or make your box a little bigger or a little smaller, and it's going to push it down. Okay, just because it's really awkward and visually it's difficult on the eyes. Okay, so I'm just going to do this. I'm going to actually even scale this up a little more. You see I've gotten so big here. Now I've got the cross in the box. So at this point, I'm just going to open that up because I've got the space on the page. Okay, so a lot of this is very visual, and you'll find InDesign will allow you to do that. To pulling guides or to make guides, when you have the rulers on, just kind of drag down, just like we would with the other programs, and you could put in a guide. And I'm just going to move these up to match that guide. Okay, and it tends to want to snap there with that. You'll notice it's a little hard to read this right now because there's no paragraphing. Because when I brought this over, it didn't have paragraphs with it. So I can tell you by looking at some of this stuff, there definitely needs to be some paragraphs. So whether it's I'm manually putting that in, okay, by making that sentence a part of there, and then again giving myself a return. You're gonna have to want to keep an eye out for that, because just because you've got that from the boss, this whoever it was, doesn't mean that it was properly, you're getting the proper format. Okay, so this is a subhead, so that's going to want to go to, I'm going to make that a bold and make that like a couple points bigger. Again, those are designed to capture your eye. So you're going to want to fix things paragraph wise before you go too far, because otherwise you're making corrections and then you're going to have to come back and remake corrections. So I can see now with putting these paragraph in, I'm already over my page. So in this case, I'm just going to actually pull these columns down for now. And by doing that, I can see I pulled that up. So what I mean by that, you want to get those paragraphing in this case, I'm just using a blank line for a paragraph. It's because if I want to format this or do something like that, I want to make sure that's all done beforehand. Okay, so I'm going to actually select this and get rid of this edge. They call this the rag, the edge here, because it's raggedy. I'm just going to do this because I want to do a justified with a bottom line that's not. Okay, so what we're doing is we're pulling that over, and I can actually see there was a probably another paragraph return in there. So we're going to hit that and just make that better. And it looks like there was a paragraph here. And we're actually pretty good with that. Again, to double check this, to look at this as it would be without the lines, go to preview. Okay, and that gives it without the boxes. If I click on the box, it will select the box and you start to see it. But it lets you off click and see how it would look without any kind of confusion or lets you see it clearer. Okay, so it's often good to do that. Again, you can do it by clicking down here. Okay, or under view and screen mode here. Okay, either way. So I'm going to want to put a couple pictures in, and I'm just going to put a square box in here. And I'm going to put my guides on normal so I can see, and I'm going to keep things as tight as possible. So I've got this here, and I want to put a photo in, and I'm going to actually move this down. And I've got a column gutter. I'm going to put a photo here. So I'm going to go Command D. Again, I got that text or photo box in there, and I want to put in a photo and just see what I got. I'm just going to put a color in, pretty color. So once I've got that, remember, I can come and fit it to the frame. These are my options: fill frame proportionally. Okay, fill frame this way, and you can see when this is keeping everything in the same format it was. There's no stretching or anything like that. And you see by doing that, I'm a little bit short on that picture. There's a little bit of gap in there. So I can either enlarge the photo, or I can resize the box, or I can go with this fill frame proportionally. In this case, it's an abstraction. It really won't matter. But again, if we start to get the faces, you got to watch. You don't want to stretch it too much. Okay. Here is fill the contents to the frame. So this is going to basically stretch the contents to fit this particular box. And this will fit the frame to the content. So watch when I do this. Boom. This shows you how big it is in real life. Okay, so if you have a picture that's large, you can do that. Center the contents, which is not going to do anything because it's only centered on that box. And then content aware fit. Let me get that. Oops, got to think it here. This is the content aware. The computer is going to think about how it fits in there to do it right. So in this case, it's going to be pretty much the same as the fill frame proportionally. There's not that much distortion with it. Okay, so I'm going to hit the contents proportionally. Okay, and then I can, well, you know what, I'm going to undo that. I'm going to make it this way. Fill frame proportionally. Okay, so we've got that as an image. Now I want to put another image in, okay, and it's going to do some other things. So, let me tell you why we have this here, just so you can see. If you have something pink, that's saying there's a font that's missing. Okay, I don't know what's going on here. I'm going to just hit a delete, but somewhere there was, you know what it was? It was probably a 10 billion something. It was not a dollar thing. It was a pound or some other kind of bizarre currency script that was coming up. So if you see pink on a document that you open up, that means you don't have that font activated on your computer. You can go back and activate that for that. But I'm just going to delete that to get rid of that error message. Okay. I want to put another shape in. I'm going to go with a ellipse. In this case, I'm going to do the same kind of color, Command D or place. Let's pick the same one. And I'm going to fill the frame proportional. Now, in this case, you can see the text is underneath the box, which kind of makes the text hard to read. Okay, so I need to get into what's called the text wrap. Okay, how do I want the text to go around? So if I click here, it's going to change the text to be around this box that I drew. Okay, if I click on the round part, wrap around the object, the computer's going to figure out what was inside that object and wrap around it. Now, again, the yellow kind of lines here are showing you how big the picture really is. Okay, and I can actually move that around to get that picture to where I want, right, left, or center. I can move it over. Okay, but what I want to do is I want to kind of give it we'll call it a margin. Okay, so right now the text is coming up right against that text box. Let me go off of here. And you can see that makes it very hard to read. I'm going to go to preview like this. So it's very, very hard to read when text gets up next to a box. Okay, so in this case, I want to give it a margin, and this is where I do it. Because it's round, it's only giving me one option, and I can just kind of put that in. And I'm going to go to normal mode, and you'll be able to see that margin coming in. It's also not showing up. It's supposed to show up as a little kind of line outside. Let me check down here. Okay, I don't know why it's not showing up there, but here you can kind of see this little blue box coming up, and that's showing you the margin that's going around, in this case, this object. Okay, so that's the text wrap around it. I don't know why it's not visually showing up here. It's doing it. I can see it's moving it out, but it's typically it will show me that edge. One preview, right? Normal. I don't know why it's not doing it. Hit save. Maybe I'm having some computer problems here. Desktop. Title 5 is fine. Okay, so it's much easier to read when we've got a gap. Now this might be a bit too much of a gap, so I'm just going to pull it back a little bit. But you want that kind of gap between your objects. It just will make it much, much easier for the world to read. And this is active, meaning if I move this around, that gap stays with it. Okay, so you can kind of really do some cool thing. Gets a little weird because this column is very thin. Okay, if I make this box smaller, oops. It makes this is a little bit better because I've got a couple words and not all hyphenations going on. But you can see it gets a little weird sometimes in there too. You get some weird gaps that you have to be kind of cautious of. Okay, so a lot of this, you'll set up some stuff to be your standards, but if you get to something unique, in this case, this circle, you're gonna want to kind of go back and manually look at it and see what you've done to create that, because it does get weird. Just do auto fit. That way, if I move it around, it's going to stay. Okay. So you have to oftentimes come back in and do some basic modifications to kind of keep it going. That's the time-consuming part. Okay. So it's not done. Typically, the stuff's not done in like an hour. You have to come back in and make things work. Okay, questions on this? This good? Everybody gets this.
For the most part, yeah.
Okay. All right. Um, so we come up here. I'm just going to go up to some spreads. And what we're trying to do is oftentimes we're trying to kind of work these out. And I'll show you how to do that. So many times we're sketching, we're drawing, we're doodling to get this. And then we're going to have things like there's going to be a text. And we're going to want to put a text. We'll put a photo in here. Okay, and then we're going to have some text. Maybe it comes over here as an article headline. So we're just kind of sketching things in sometimes. And then we're going to come back in and fill them in with the words that are going to come. So in this case, we have a layout here, 2-page spread. So I'm going to put first start with my picture. Command D, we're going to add a photo. Now you can add in Photoshop files. I'm just going to tell you they get really bulky, right? This is a 193 meg Photoshop file. You don't want to bring that in. It's much better to bring in a 13 meg file than 100 meg, or this one's 18 meg. So, try to keep it, down as small as you can. Okay, and again, these are all good quality images. They're just smaller. Okay. So we pull that in, and then we'll have to go to my properties. I want to make that fit the frame proportionally. So that did that, and you can see I cut that off. That's not going to work. This fills it in, but I want it to kind of stretch out. So this is a tough one because I've got this picture that's only so big, right? And it won't fit this square. So I can either make my square bigger to give me a larger photo. I'm going to click it on auto, and watch as I make this bigger. It is enlarging the picture. So it's giving me a pretty good spread there. Okay, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to pull it all the way down. I've got a pretty large image now. I'm going to move it up a little bit. And then I've got this text box back here, which I'm going to bring that forward. So let me pull that forward. Object, arrange, bring the front. Okay, so I'm going to select both of those. I'm going to enlarge them right away because I know I want it to be bigger. Okay, you can see I did crazy, right? I got all caps, and yeah, that's fine. Go ahead to your point. Or up and down, right? That's not right. So I can come down here and just click it to be all caps, okay, or upper and lowercase. Because I did this all caps, it won't give me the lowercase caps, but I can do all caps from here. Okay. I don't know if I spelled that right or not. And I'm going to give it a little bit thicker typeface. There we go. You got to have a question mark. Okay. Now I want this just to be white. Okay. We're basically coming back to the fill. Okay. And when you hit paper, that's white. Okay. Now, again, if your paper is a different color, you're going to have to make up that color and be able to import that or bring that into there. I'm actually going to go even larger with my typeface. Okay, I'm going to reduce the leading, again, that gap between the two, that's over here. And I'm just kind of manually moving it so it looks right visually. The numbers become a reference point, but I'm really looking at it. How's it look with that? And again, we're on 2 pages spread here. Okay, and then over here, I have an article I can put in, right? So I'm just going to drop in some text. And in this case, I'm going to just use insert placeholder text just to have it there. Okay, and I need to bring that in, so we're within the gutter. That's pretty good. And then I'm going to select all that. I'm going to give it a different typeface so I can visually see what I'm doing here. Let me find one that works. Ooh, something normal. Okay. Text. Okay. So now we've got a layout, right? And we did some modifications to it from where we originally planned. But we're still getting, I decided, hey, instead of putting the text at the bottom and the picture top, let's combine the text on top of the photo. Now, one thing we want to watch and be concerned about here is this black line, which is showing you where one page and the other page come together. Okay, and what they're creating is what we call, again, the gutter between the two pages, so the fold part. Okay, so we want to try to watch our text and things that go in there so they're not overlapping. So in this case, in order to not get that overlap, I'm going to actually move this text box over just a little bit. Okay, that's not too bad. So now I've got this here, so when it folds, I can still see the O and the R and the L and the E. Okay, in this case, with the very, very small folio, meaning it's only like 8 pages, it's not very thick. But if you have a really thick book, we've all seen where like the words kind of sometimes feel like they're getting in the middle and it's hard to read and you got to press the book out to read. We want to try to avoid that. Okay, so watch your text coming through what we call the gutter here of a publication or a book. Okay, or if it was a brochure and it folded out, it wouldn't be a problem. Okay, like we've had trifold brochures and they fold out, they fold flat, so you don't even really have to worry about this too much. But you do want to kind of keep that in consideration. Okay, and then we have a layout. We're going to kind of keep going with all the information that we have. And if this article continued on, we're going to probably have additional text columns down here and imagery and so forth that works it in. But this is, again, this is the place where we're bringing it all together. Our photos, our text, to make it a presentation that people can read or it can be printed. Okay, that's kind of really the beauty thing here of InDesign, what it's doing. Okay, questions so far? Make sense? So know that you can have your text wrap around, okay, objects or pictures. And again, I may put a picture in here, but I could just as easily make that a solid color box or something like that, some kind of graphical element. Okay, and we control that. By default, the computer just kind of puts things in, and then we have to kind of tell it what we want to do and how we want, in this case, to relate to the text that's on the page. Likewise up here, excuse me, how this text relates to the picture and how this text column relates to the photograph. Okay, so we have complete control over that stuff, and we have to make those design decisions. Now, again, there are a ton of resources, both publication-wise, book-wise, and also things you can look up. And I'm just going to do so magazine layouts that we can look for reference, and we'll go through next class referencing this kind of stuff so we can kind of work this up and see how we do this. Okay, because again, we don't need to reinvent. There's stuff out there stylistically. We can find things, and again, we told you we can download some templates. And then you can also work them up this way, right? Where we're basically looking at something. And this is not uncommon to get from a art director, creative director. They got this kind of idea of what they want and how they're looking at things. And they'll give you something like this. And it's up to you to kind of bring in the picture and the text and kind of make it all work together. Again, there'll be modifications based upon the stuff. But this is kind of a quick way of working it up So we know what we want to do. We're not just kind of coming up with this kind of boring layout that nobody wants to read. Okay. It's not a newspaper, but even newspapers have ways of kind of upping their layout to make them a little bit more visually appealing in today's world. Okay. We've got a lot more freedom today than ever with our layouts, partly because of the programs. Things make it easier. It was very difficult to do these things prior to the desktop publishing programs. Okay. But the computer lets us do it quickly. Okay. Whereas before we were cutting and pasting and gluing things and kind of covering up things, and it was very, very hard to do. But in today's world, we've got a lot of options that we can do and quickly make changes, okay, to see if they're going to work or not. Okay. So we're in a good time. We're in an exciting time to be able to design because of the technology that's coming with this. Okay. And next class, we'll talk a little bit about cover design, and we'll talk about the layout and the style sheets and those kind of items in InDesign, which will help you along. Okay. That will speed you up in your design process as you're working. Okay, so they're basically these here character styles and paragraph styles. Okay, we'll go through those next class. Aligning is cool. Word up pathfinding, but okay. Questions on that? On just putting in a picture, putting in some text, linking columns, etc. Does that all make sense to you guys? Yes. All right. Last thing before I stop today. This program, like all programs, has a spelling check. Use it. Okay. To check your spelling. Okay. So there's no excuse to have things spelled wrong. Okay, it'll come up, suggestions, crocodile, whether we want to change it. Okay, in this case, it was a capitalization issue. It's done, start. And it's not finding anything else. It knows the dummy text is there. Down here, it's getting into some words, and it says Nord. I don't know what that is. If that is a technical term, just hit skip. Okay, and it'll take you to the next one. All right, skip is coming up Nord all the time. You can add words to the dictionary. You can make up your own dictionary. I don't, because a lot of times the technical words get all weird. And if you put in something and the technical word is spelled wrong, sometimes it doesn't catch things like that. So, but if you are working with some kind of unique dictionary, you can add that in, add words into your dictionary. Okay. Your name or weird names, because it'll come up like, hey, this name is spelled wrong. But if you're always using that name and it is spelled right, you can add that to the dictionary, so it won't keep popping up in your articles. Okay, so the word Nord keeps coming up. Organized. Man, this must be like the European way. We'll go to the American way. America here. Nord. Skip that again. Skip that again. Blah, the move. Skip that because that's a formal name. Zelensky, that's a formal. Merkel, we know that's a formal. I don't know. Okay, and then we've got that done. Okay. Well, it's going to go through all the. It's going through all that dummy text, so we're going to stop it. It's a little bit done because, of course, that's all spelled wrong because it's not real words. It's just the computer putting things in. All right, I want to go through. I said one more thing actually while we're here. Up here is a link. Okay, and what this is showing me is I've got this picture in here twice, and I've got this crocodile picture here once. Okay, and it's telling me if I scroll over, it's on the desktop, in desktop photos under crocodile everglades.jpg. It knows where that file is. If I move that file, I will get a question mark and it will start to wonder, where did I put the picture? So InDesign wants to know where the pictures are. So there's two ways I can do this. I can right click and I can embed. If I embed, that makes it a part of the file. Okay, which is a good thing, but also can be a bad thing if I'm going to go back and do modifications to that file. Because if I go back, open it up and do modifications, it will tell me something changed. So let me see, where is that picture? Desktop, user, desktop photo. Let me find that real quick. So I'm going to Photoshop. I'm going to try to find that file. Open, desktop. Was it users? I can't believe I do that. Where is it? Desktop photos. Okay. I'm going to show you what it's doing here. Where is it? Oh no. I'm confused. Desktop photos. Okay. Desktop. Can see desktop photo. I'm trying to find a picture so I can make a change to it. And you guys can see where the computer will update and change it. I don't even know where I got this from now. Give me 1 second. I'm going to do it another way. Yeah, also in InDesign, there's a thing called package. So if I want to get, and I want this picture, I don't know where it is. I forget where I put it, grabbed it from. If I go under file and package, it will pull back and grab all the typefaces I've used and then all the pictures that I've used. And it will put them all into a folder, okay, along with the file itself. So I have it. Let me saved. Okay, I'm going to put this on, and we'll keep it here. Oh, I know where that is. Copy fonts, copy this everything. I'm going to package it. Over text telling me there's text that goes over that, which I know it. That's okay. All right, I'm just going to close this off. And I'm going to come back into Photoshop. I'm going to open up that file. I know where it is now. Desktop, Fullerton. Oh, I don't know where it was. Oh God. There's I finally found a desktop photo. How crazy is this? I'm gonna do this. We'll do it this way. I'm gonna just change it. Okay. It's different. It's purple, and I'm gonna save it. It's a nonsense file anyway. I'm gonna come back over here. Let me open that one I just was. Open recent. This is where it was. Okay. So I went and I made a change to that image, and it says there are modified links. I mean, I changed it twice. So I'm going to say update the modified links. And now what it's going to do is it changed down here. One font's no longer supported. No, type 1 font's not going to be supported. Oh, okay. It'll remind me later. Okay, so now here you see those pictures got changed and it changed here. Okay, because the computer's so smart, it knows that that got changed. So it's not embedded, because if it was embedded, it wouldn't change. Okay, but because it's linked, okay, when you make that change, it says, hey, you made a change to that link. You want to update it for your document. Okay, so the advantage of a embedded file is it won't change, but the advantage of a link file is if you make a change, it will tell you it's been changed and do you want to update it. Okay, so depending on what you're doing, you might want to embed, you might want to link. Oftentimes I find it easy to embed everything at the end because I know it's kind of done and I'm going to send it off. So I know it's all there. And I'm not going to miss anything. But if I package, I can also get the files all together and it will keep them that way. So if I go back here to my files, I'm going to close this. And we've got these Fullerton. Let me find it. I just want to show you that folder that's in there. This is the problem of having too many files. Okay, so we're here in the fall. So here is the folder from InDesign Untitled 5. And it sees here's the InDesign file. It made a PDF of it in case I want to look at it. Okay. It gave me the links, meaning these are the photos themselves. Okay. And then it gave me the typefaces. Okay. Down here. It's going to give me, it's an executable file, but those are because it's a type 1 font, I believe. And these are the open type fonts that are going to go with it. So I can add this to your computer or my computer. The meta, it's getting weird because of the type 1. Apparently they're trying to get rid of those. Okay, but I do know what that was. Okay. All right. But this, I like the orange one. Keep that for later. So linking or unlinking really is your choice. But I typically link them because I know I'm going to go back and probably edit the pictures or do things later. But when you're all said and done, you can package it and it will give you everything together, including your images, and then you can work with it. So I'm going to open this InDesign file number 5, and it's going to probably, let me see, it's going to know where it went. Put this down. Close that one, don't save. All right. And is it no? Okay. You will get warnings. Trust me, this would be a little thing here. And you're also, I'm going to get the window here. Down here, you have errors. Well, let me see what the errors is. Pre-flight panel. Oh, it's telling me the text is overriding. Okay, and it will actually take you to that problem. See, there's the red square. And then on this one, likewise, there's over text. Okay, so it will tell you that. So computer's telling me what the problems are. This is used to be a separate program, but now they built it into InDesign. Okay, it's called pre-flighting. So look down here. You don't want errors for your stuff. So that error went away. Now it's 1. Up here, it's going to continue to give me errors because it's dummy text. It just kind of filled it in. Select. I'm going to just delete it. And now you see down here, I got a green light, no errors. So I got rid of that text. Okay. So pretty smart program. It will help you along as we start to go, and we're going to keep adding things, and we'll do some more layouts and look at references and pull that all together. All right. I don't want to overdo it today. We'll chill you guys. Stop the share. All right. Questions? Questions?
Sure.
Anybody here? Anybody else popping late? Okay. 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 All right. What are we at? Today's Tuesday. So open up InDesign. If you haven't already, make sure you get to download it. Bring in some text, bring in some pictures, move things around, give your pictures a little margin, and just kind of see how that works. We're going to get into a little bit more layout next class. We'll get into the character styles and paragraph styles and what they mean, the master pages, and when to use them. And then we're going to be off. We're going to be off and get these projects done, and I'll get the spec sheet written up for this project. All right, questions on what we've done today? Anybody? Bueller. Is it making sense? More importantly. Yes? Thumbs up?
Yeah, mostly.
Okay. All right, again, you got to tell me because I'm looking at little black screens here. So I'm not sure whether you're getting it or not. All right, have a good Wednesday, and we'll see you Thursday. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. See you Thursday.
All right.